Okay, hi everyone. I am Sarah Mary, your Southpark Toastmaster president for this season. It's so good to see everybody in person and online. Before we begin our meeting, of course, we want to welcome all of our guests. So, Eugenia, are you safe to chat? Are you at home yet?
I am at home. Can you hear me?
We can hear you. Yes.
Okay,
Would you like to just introduce yourself and tell us how you found us and what you're hoping to get out of Toastmasters?
Yes, I hope you cannot see me though, because I just came from yoga, so I'm a sweaty mess. I apologize, everybody. So I hope my video is turned on.
It's turned on.
Well, I'm Eugenia Colander. I live around the South Park area. I actually found you because I am in a book club and there is a sort of a March Madness competition going around, and one of the games consisted on attending an event with the library. So in searching for those events, I found you guys. But super interested as I am in the process of looking for a job. So I'm trying to expand my network and get to meet other people. So yeah, I'm originally from Argentina. I don't know if you want me to say a few things about me or not, but I'm originally from Argentina. Yeah, so I have a son who's in college. He's a sophomore at NC State. Very proud of him. And yeah, so, and I've been in wonderful. Okay, sorry.
No, sorry, please, please continue, Jen. I didn't mean to cut you off. No, please, tell us more.
Oh, no, I was about to say, I have been in the mortgage industry for I don't know, 15 years plus, and hence me looking for a job. I need to get out of mortgage. So
it's a hot industry, I'm sure, with the housing market around here. I'm sure.
Yeah. Okay. Well, it's
Well, great. Well, Eugenia, we can't wait. Usually what happens is if you decide to become a member, the first speech you give is called your icebreaker. So it sounds like you're going to have a lot of interesting information to offer in your icebreaker speech when you join our club.
Okay, I prepare something.
We can't wait to learn more about you. And we're so glad you found us. And Alicia, welcome back. Welcome back. We're good to have you. And Michael, were you in person last time, or is this your first meeting?
I was in person last week, then I had a work meeting run right until 12, so I just figured I'd log on remote, but I'm gonna try and come in person some. I haven't joined yet, but I got the paperwork, so.
That's great, that's excellent. No, we're happy to have you either way. That's the benefits of this hybrid situation, so great. And Alicia, you got your paperwork and everything? We've been in correspondence with you?
I don't think so. I'll put my email in the chat though.
Okay, we'll follow up, no problem. David, is there any guests in person that we need to welcome?
It'll see you.
Hello, my name is Pomada Galloway, and what was the question? How I found out about Toastmasters?
That's right.
Online. I am recently retired from the county. 23 years, and majority of that time with the county was in leadership. So I'm looking to start a second career, and that's how I found the Toastmasters. I'm like, how can I improve myself? What can I grow personally, professionally, so I can jump right into a second career? So.
Excellent. That's a great reason to be here. We've seen a lot of people who get more comfortable with public speaking absolutely progress in their careers. I think communication is a huge push towards more success. So it's so wonderful to have you. Congratulations on your recent retirement. Is that what you said, right?
Yes, thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. And Rhonda, are you a guest? Your first timer here?
Hi, yes, I am.
Welcome in. Could you tell us how you heard about us and what you're hoping to get out of Toastmasters?
Hi, my name is Rhonda Jackson. I learned about this location through my coworker, Alicia. I guess organized, because I can speak, but I can go off the cuff, and sometimes it's not organized as it should be. So.
Yes, no, that I think we have a few people here who have admitted that is their downfall too. So you're in the right spot and amongst good company. So welcome in. Okay, great. Well, it's just so nice to see such a packed house. I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to our Toastmaster of the day, David, so he can get us started with our meeting.
Thank you, Madam President. Good afternoon, fellow Toastmasters and guests. My theme today is benefits of hiking. I like to go hiking along the Appalachian Trail and up the mountains. I also do camping up there. And the benefits are the exercise. You know, you're going up and down hills, there's different resistances, different scenery. And for me, I can hike maybe 2 to 4 hours a day, but my treadmill at home, I do it for 30 minutes and I'm bored and I get off of it. Hiking, definitely great exercise. Number 2 is your mental health. You're out in nature, you're one with nature. It's kind of like meditation for me, where I'm just walking in the dead quiet and I don't hear anything but birds chirping. It's another benefit to hiking. And you're breathing fresh air. You're sweating out your toxins. You're getting all the stuff that you need in from Mother Nature through the fresh air. During COVID, a lot of people got into hiking because we just needed to get out and get fresh air, and there was no COVID out in Mother Nature. And finally, you discover new things. Whenever you're hiking, you see something different, and this is where my theme makes a turn. If you discover new things like these 2 Germans who were hiking at about 10,000 feet above sea level and on the coast or on the borderline of Austria and Italy, and this is back in September 1991, they found Otzi the Iceman. They were just hiking along, and there in the ice was a cave. They didn't know it was a caveman at the time. They just thought it was some hiker who fell and maybe died, so they called the authorities. The authorities came out, dug it up, and took it back. But while they were digging it up, they didn't know it was a caveman. They just figured it was some person. They damaged its thigh, its hip, and some of its belongings. And then once they got it to the place that, I guess to the forensic lab, they determined that it was 5,300-year-old cave, and it had just started to be seen because of the melting ice. And so they had all of its clothing and bows and stuff like that. And it was just by coincidence that these hikers were hiking along and they saw this body sticking out of the ground, and then the ice had melted. It was just such a coincidence, but it wouldn't have happened if they weren't out hiking. And it was considered one of the greatest archaeological finds of the 20th century. Now I'm going to continue to talk about Otzi the Iceman as we go, but I wanted to start off by introducing our roles. And we're going to start with Sonia, who's going to be our timer. And Sonia, do you want to explain your role as timer?
Fantastic. Thank you for allowing me to talk about what it means to be a timer. I'm a quote person. There's a famous quote by a rabbi by the name of Mendel Shishelman, and I'll figure out how to say it. He says, this is the key to time management, to see the value in every moment. And that is why we do timing in Toastmasters, because we want you to see the value in the moments when you're speaking. So today we have one prepared speech. This is Jeremy. Jeremy, you're going to see the green light at 5 minutes, the yellow light at 6 minutes. 6, did it go? There you go. And then the red light at 7. Hopefully it'll show you that. Fantastic. Now for our impromptu speaking, that's called our table topics. It's going to be a little different. You're going to see the green at 1 minute because we want you to go for the green. We want you to shoot for the green. So you're going to see the green at 1. At 1.5, you're going to see the yellow. And at red, you're going to see 2. Now we want you to go for the green, but we also want you to go for the red. We want you to go for 2 minutes. So this is a brave, safe space to do that. And for our one evaluator today, you're going to see the green at 2 minutes, the yellow at 2.5, and at 3 minutes, you'll see the red. And remember to value every moment through time management. Thank you so much for allowing me to share.
Thank you, Madam Timer. Now back to Otzi the Iceman. He must have been hiking in the snow because his body was perfectly mummified by the snow and the ice. And again, it's been 5,300 years that it's been laying in the snow, but his body was perfectly intact, and they were able to find out a lot of information about him through DNA samples, which I'll touch on in a minute. But for now, I want to turn it over to our grammarian, Valencia Timms, who's going to tell us about her role.
Thank you so much, Mr. Toastmaster. I'm trying to see if the camera will find me. I'm serving today as your grammarian. And what I'll do in my role is give feedback on our use of the English language. How well do we master it? Or do we use a lot of fillers or clutch words? I'll give feedback on that. But also, one of my favorite things about being grammarian is to share a word of the day. So our word of the day is inclination. And I had the word pulled up a second ago and lost it. Inclination is a noun, a person's natural tendency to urge, to act, or feel in a particular way, a disposition or propensity. Another thing, since we're doing hiking, we're talking about hiking, it's a slope or slant. Or it's the angle at which a straight line or plane is inclined to another. So if you use this word of today, we will give you encouragement to include it in your table topics and speech. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam Grammarian. It's my inclination to continue to talk about Otzi, the Iceman.
Very good.
Now, what they found was he was about 5'3" tall, 110 pounds, and he was in his mid-40s. And he wasn't alone. He was murdered. They found an arrow in his back, and he bled to death. And fortunately, unfortunately for him, but fortunately, all that blood in his clothing was part of the DNA that the scientists were able to discover even more information about, which I'll touch upon in a minute. Now, Jamil is going to be our general evaluator. Do you just want to touch on what you're going to do as a general evaluator, Jamil?
Yes, it is my inclination to tell how this role is going to play out. So as the general evaluator, what I'll do is I will lead us through the second half of our meeting. Right now, as the Toastmaster, David's leading us through the first half of the meeting. Then I'll lead us through the second half of the meeting where it has the evaluations, the different timers reports. So we'll know kind of where we stand on some of these different items. And then I'll give a general evaluation on how we can possibly improve our meeting to continue to create a great user experience. So that's the role of the general evaluator. So with that, I'll pass it back to the Toastmaster of the day.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jamil. All right, so we know that he was killed by an arrow in his back, but all of his possessions were still there. So I'm assuming, because they don't know, it must have been for food. Maybe he had a bunch of food with him and somebody wanted to kill him. My other thought, like, how do you upset people 5,500 years ago? Maybe he was walking in the trail and he cut somebody off. And it was the first form of road rage, that he cut somebody off and they're mad and they shot him with an arrow. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm going with, that was the first road rage on a trail in the mountains in Italy. And with that, I'm going to have our speaker come up, and he is Jeremy Suggs. He is working from Pathways Dynamic Leadership Level 3 and Inspire Your Audience. It's called Get Control of Your Mind, 5 to 7 minutes, Madam China.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Imagine with me, if you will, Toastmasters, being 100% at peace with nothing more than what you have in each moment. Imagine feeling awe from the slightest sensations, your breath, the breeze on your skin, the sun on your face. Imagine being so in the moment, so present in each moment, that all of your senses are hyper aware and you are able to take in all of your surroundings in such a way that you feel as if your sense of self has diminished and you are at one with the universe. Sounds kind of crazy, right? Stick with me. Now imagine in your day-to-day life, when your kids aren't listening, when your spouse hasn't done that chore that you expected them to do, when you feel slighted by a coworker, when all of those thoughts and feelings and emotions are rushing into you like they are in me right now, imagine that you see those thoughts and those feelings and emotions as nothing more than thoughts and feelings and emotions. Imagine that you are able to acknowledge your thoughts and emotions, but you're not reacting to them. You're not triggered by them. They're not jerking you around. You see your thoughts, you acknowledge them, but you're not chasing them down a rabbit hole. This is what meditation can do for you. Meditation has become very popular in recent years, but I feel like there are a lot of lingering misconceptions that may have prevented you from giving it a shot, or may have caused you to believe that it doesn't work, or may have caused you to think, oh, I'm just not good at it. And I want to try to dispel some of those misconceptions. Now, before I tell you what meditation is not, let me tell you what it is. Now, I am no yogi, I'm no shaman. If there is a path to enlightenment, I'm not on it. But after meditating with some regularity for about 5 years, I think I have come up with a pretty helpful analogy. Picture your mind like a dog at a dog park. There are distractions everywhere. There's other dogs, there's smells in the air. Your mind is bouncing around from one thing to the next with no rhyme or reason, and you have absolutely no control over it. So you decide it's time for some training. You put a leash on your mind. You take it to a quiet place where there's fewer distractions, and you ask your mind to focus on one thing. When your mind gets distracted, you gently tug on that leash, and you get it back to that one thing. It takes time and it takes patience. But with practice, eventually, when your mind gets distracted, it realizes itself and it brings its attention back to that one thing. And over time, with more practice, eventually your mind can maintain its focus on that one thing while taking in all of the other distractions around it, noting them, but not going off chasing them down a rabbit hole. Now, let me tell you what meditation is not. It's not a breathing exercise. A lot of people, if you've heard anything about meditation, likely heard somebody say, focus on your breath. And that's absolutely true, because the breath is one thing that is very easy to focus on. It's right here, it's present. You can feel it throughout your body. You could focus on anything. It could be your big toe, but the breath is an easy one. But it should be your natural breath. You shouldn't be counting your breaths. You shouldn't be holding your breath. Just breathe and notice that your breath is there. Now, a lot of people will begin a meditation session by doing some deep breathing exercises, because deep breathing helps to calm the central nervous system. And it's a lot easier to meditate if you're calm and your mind isn't racing already. But once you're calm, allow your breath to return to a normal pattern and just watch it. Meditation is not a relaxation technique. It can certainly help you to remain relaxed in stressful situations. But if you're 100% relaxed, you're asleep, or you're just vegging out. You're not meditating. Meditation is about focus. Picture yourself like a guard at Buckingham Tower. You are still, you are calm, but you are vigilant. You're on guard, taking notice of everything. And finally, meditation is not a religious thing. It certainly has its roots in religion, but it has gone far beyond that. It is recognized by modern psychology and neuroscience as a way to improve focus and overall mental health. The military, police, pro athletes, business leaders, they all use meditation to improve focus and help them keep their calm under stressful situations. I started out describing for you what might seem like a spiritual or out-of-body experience. And it might feel that way because in our modern society, we are so distracted by external stimuli and internal thoughts, that being 100% present for the first time might feel like an out-of-body experience. But it's just that feeling of actually taking everything in and being so aware of your surroundings that you notice them to that extent. So I would encourage you to take the next step in your meditation practice, whether that's trying it for the very first time or getting back into a regular practice. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Jeremy. Now, each club does things a little differently. I believe here at Southpark, we do the timers report at the end. But since I have control, I'm going to do timers report now, because this is the reason you should do them after each thing, is because if you have multiple speakers and then you're going to vote on them, you can't vote on them if they went over time because they'd be disqualified. Therefore, you have to get their time after the speeches. So can I get a timers report, please, Sonia?
Yes, sir. Jeremy came in at 6 minutes and 51 seconds.
Perfect. So he qualified. Great job. Back to my little caveman. Now, when they found him, he was fully dressed. He had his shoes on, like I mentioned. It wasn't a robbery when he was killed, but he also had a knife and a bow and arrow with him, which was confusing me because that's 5,300 years ago. That was how many? 3,275 years before Christ, BC. And I was surprised he had that much. What also interests me is he had 61 tattoos. Now, they're not tattoos like we have now. They were basically lines or X's, and they were made with needles and then charcoal. And they believe it was part of acupuncture or some kind of therapeutic thing. But yeah, 61 tattoos on him. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to our table topics master, who is, I believe, Sarah Mary. There you go. Sarah Mary, take it over.
Thanks, David. Hey, everybody. So I'm the table topics master today. What I do is I essentially lead us in a impromptu question and answer. So I'll pick somebody or try to get a volunteer. I'll volunteer or allow you to volunteer. I'll choose you, we'll ask a question, and then you have 1 to 2 minutes to answer that question. What we like to say is go for the green, which means try to reach 1 minute, which is the minimum amount of time required to answer the question. If you don't reach a minute, it's perfectly fine, but it just teaches you how, if the answer is quick, then to imprompt more speaking. So it's just a good little lesson in training you how to talk a little longer than you might be comfortable with. So go for the green. You'll watch the timer turn green like she did for Jeremy. And that'll be your cue that you've reached your time and you can start closing up. Okay, so let's see. So do I have anybody who would like to take my first question? I won't force a guest to do it yet.
Debbie has her hand up.
Debbie? Okay, excellent. All right, Debbie, do you want to come stand in the front? Okay, perfect. Okay. Do you prefer oceans or mountains?
Well, thank you for that question. It's a good question. And living where we do in kind of the middle of North Carolina, I have often thought about that question. I think the answer to that question for me at this point is mountains. And the reason for that is because mountains are cooler. I think the scenery to me is much more engaging. And years ago, I might have said beach, but I don't know, it's hot there. It's just hot. So that's what I think about. And I just feel like the mountains offer a little bit different experience with lots of different views and temperatures and great people and probably more exercise too, because at the beach you tend to, well, now I'm afraid of sharks, so I don't go in the water like I used to, because I've heard too many shark stories. So now I think I could get a better walk and exercise in with the mountain. So thank you for that question.
Thank you, Debbie, for the answer. That was well thought out. Thank you so much. We are privileged here in Charlotte to be able to have both at our disposal. So it's always such a fun question for people who have been here for a while. Okay, do I have a second volunteer? Okay, Jamil. Okay, I have a little bit of a philosophical question for you. I had planned it for you if you volunteered. Okay, if a tree falls in the woods and nobody is around, does it make a sound?
If a tree falls in the wood and nobody is around, does it make a sound? Man, the first thing that comes to mind is a completely different random thought. Someone talked earlier about just rambling and not staying focused. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stay focused on the question. I can't help myself. I have to give it to you. So I heard this quote. Someone said, if a man is talking, but there's no woman around, is he still wrong? Sorry. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself. Okay, so now let's go back to the tree. If the tree falls in the wood and nobody is around to hear it, does it make a noise? The answer to that question is yes. We don't have to be present in order to hear the tree fall, whether it's a squirrel that might jump and be startled by the noise. If the squirrel's not around, that still makes some type of noise, makes some type of impact. So we all are different. We all have our own different space that we take up in this world. So whether it's a tree, whether it's a person, whether it's a squirrel, whether it's a man or a woman, and we all make our own different noises. We all take up our own space. So I believe the answer to that question is yes. If a tree falls in the woods, nobody's around to hear it, it still makes a noise. Back to you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jamil, for that answer. And I would say, just like if a woman wasn't around, the man's still wrong. So
I figured.
The logic follows. Okay, any of our guests, our guests who've been here before or new, would y'all like to take one?
I can take one. This is Eugenia.
Hi, Eugenia. Excellent. Okay,
Hey.
great. So let's see. If you could take 1 month off of working with the bank and mortgages and you could plan your perfect outdoor adventure, what would that outdoor adventure look like?
I love that question. Actually, as I mentioned before, I wasn't very clear, but I am actually out of work right now. So I recently took not a whole month off, but I took a couple of weeks off. I went back home to Argentina, but I played the tourist travel this time, so traveler this time. So I was able to travel up north to the northern part of Argentina, which I haven't been before. And if I had to take a whole month, I will definitely go back to Argentina. That was such a taste of what Argentina's north has to offer. There are mountains, there are deserts, there are lakes. Going back to the question about mountain versus beach, you have a little bit of everything. And then, of course, if you cross the Andes, you can go to Chile, where there is the ocean. So I will definitely go take a month and explore, the entire north of my country. And even venture out into Bolivia and Peru, maybe do the Machu Picchu. But yeah, lots of hiking to do. And I'm a very outdoorsy person, so I will definitely love to go back and explore more.
Oh, that's awesome, Eugenia. What a beautiful experience. It's so fun when you can see your own home place, your own hometown, I guess, in a different light. So you got to explore more of it.
Absolutely.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
Thank you so much for that thoughtful answer. I think we still have time for a few more. Is that right, Toastmaster? Are we okay? Yeah, okay, great. I've got a few more up my sleeve. So, okay, my next victim, anybody? Yeah, Michael? All right.
I can go.
Awesome. Okay, let's see. Okay, what is the craziest or wildest thing that's ever happened to you or that you've ever done on an outdoor adventure?
On an outdoor adventure, the craziest thing that I've ever done. And, I have an inclination to remind you of something I did in college. We I have an interesting story about my college experience. I have a degree in forestry, so I've been in the woods a lot. Not anymore, but I did and one time I got lost in the woods, and so I was actually out there. We have these GPS devices where when we park our vehicle at the beginning of the day, you GPS the spot that you're at, where your car is, or your truck. And then you have a map to kind of follow yourself out in the woods to get to certain different positions out in the woods to take different measurements. And one time the GPS wasn't working very well, and so I didn't have very strong signal. And so I had trouble getting back to my vehicle, and I was out a couple extra hours than I wanted to. I definitely made it back before dark, but it was certainly a scary thing and something that I don't want to repeat again. So, but I'm grateful to have had that experience and to be able to share about it today. So thank you.
That's awesome. What a cool major, Michael. That's so neat. Yeah, me and directions aren't friends. I mean, I literally could get lost in a paper bag. So my husband always says he's got a GPS in his brain. He's in geomapping, and he always says, "What's it like not to know where you are at all times?" I'm like, I don't know. It's pretty adventurous. Pretty freeing. I don't know. So thank you for that, Michael. It was a great answer. And I like learning more about you. Okay, I've got two more. So any takers? Rhonda, you want to give it a try?
Sure, I was sitting there looking at Alicia like, Alicia, why don't you go?
She's probably thinking the same thing about you.
Okay, yes, I'll give it a try.
Okay, Rhonda, if you were outdoors or you were doing an adventure, what would you be most afraid of? Bugs or snakes?
Snakes.
Snakes?
No.
Tell us about it.
No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Snakes and I just don't get along. I know they're harmless or whatever the case may be, but they just pop up in the most unexpected places, from moving a rock or stepping out your front door. There's one side and once a Sunday on the front porch. So yeah, snakes, that's okay. From outdoors, I'm always peeping around, especially in the wooded area of my backyard. I'm kind of always peeping around to see if there's something slithering, if something's out the corner of my eye. I see out the corner of my eye, I'm jumping. I even go as far as when I'm outside working in my yard, I wear construction boots. I always have construction boots on, and it's such a funny thing to see because I'm dressed like a normal person up top. Then you get down and you see these construction boots, and my friends that do stop by when I'm outside working, like they can't make the connections. They have to go into the whole thing about snakes, snake bites, and all that good stuff. So snakes, we're not friends at all.
Oh gosh, thank you so much, Rhonda. That was great. You made it to the green. Awesome job. Awesome job. Do you wear steel toe? Is that what construct? Oh girl, yep.
Yes.
Yeah, no snakes. No snakes for Rhonda. Okay, awesome. All right, I've got one more. So anybody in person want to take a go or left online? Or guess?
Give it a try.
Okay, excellent. Okay, do you mind coming up to the front so we could just hear you a little bit better?
Part of the process.
For a minute, but I will do my best.
That's okay. Yes, do your best. Absolutely. That's all we ask for. Okay, I think the camera's getting to you slowly. All right, the last question I have is, okay, so what is your favorite childhood outdoor game or adventure?
Okay, that's a great question. I always like to go back to my childhood. I think my childhood was not as adventurous as I remember it. So I would say hopscotch was my favorite childhood memory. Not so much of it being an adventure, but something that always got us moving and kind of figuring out, okay, how am I going to pick this one up and do this, and then drawing the game on the ground. So I would say hopscotch. It's not as exciting, but I think as a child, it had me thinking, it had me outside, it had me in the element, it had me bending over, stretching, not, as physical as other things. But again, like I said, I think in my head, I have more of a adventure than I actually did in my childhood. So yes, Hopscotch would be the game that really I enjoyed. I enjoyed as a child, and it was a great memory for me. So that is it. Thank you.
Excellent. Excellent. Everybody made it to the green. Congratulations, guys. That was so much fun. It's always so wonderful to learn more about all of you. So thank you for everybody who participated. Back to you, Toastmaster David.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. And if you all want to look up Otzi, it's O-T-Z-I, Otzi the Iceman. It's an interesting story. I'm going to give you some last tidbits about him. As I mentioned, they found DNA on his clothing from bleeding death, and he was perfectly preserved so they could look in his stomach. And his last meal was deer, wheat, and poisonous fern. And they believed that poisonous fern probably came from him wrapping up his food because they didn't have saran wrap back then. So wrap it up with something. He had Lyme disease, which meant he was probably bit by a tick. Last month I had Rocky Mountain spotted fever from getting bit by a tick. It's not fun. He had internal parasites. I'm assuming that came from not filtering his water. I have a water filtration system when I'm hiking. He had arthritis, heart disease, tooth and gum disease. And interestingly, his lungs were coated with soot. And they believe that's just from being up the fire all the time, the campfire. So we have to be careful when we're out camping, not to be breathing into the fire. With that, I'm going to turn it over to our general evaluator, Jamil.
Great, thank you, David. It's a very interesting topic and a lot of informative information about Otzi. And I will try to keep that in mind when I do my little fires, not to inhale the smoke. I would imagine that would occur over the lifetime of like cooking food over fire, but I digress. Let's go ahead and get back to the meeting, which we are currently in. Let's go ahead and have our first evaluation. Our prepared speech was given by Jeremy, and our evaluator we're going to have by Debbie Tertinger. Let's give a warm welcome to Debbie Tertinger.
I just had my annual physical. I'm not quite in as bad shape as the Iceman, thank God. but anyway, I am gonna say a few comments on Jeremy. And Jeremy, the topic of his speech was get control of your mind, which I thought was engaging, and it made me curious when I first heard that. And Jeremy, I have heard speeches from you pre-pandemic. We joined together in Toastmasters in this club before the pandemic. And so I was so impressed that you came back because you wanted the live experience like this. And you immediately started on your pathway again, on the educational pathway. And I thought that was just really awesome and amazing that you jumped right in. Jeremy also uploaded the documents so I could have those as I listened to his speech, which is really helpful if you are an evaluator. And the other thing, there are more good things I have to say. And you used no notes. And I was so impressed with that you knew your speech, you were comfortable, you used no notes and remembered all of it without a hitch. So I thought that was really great. I think your topic was so interesting, and the purpose of your speech was to inspire. And I thought that's a great topic that not all of us know about or have looked into, but you gave us some background and some reasons to consider it as part of our own mental health and are taking care of ourselves. I loved how you used humor. You brought it back down to where you weren't an expert on this. You're not a yogi or a shaman, but you kind of brought in humor, which was, we always appreciate that as an audience. I thought also when you talked about the dog analogy, having your mind on a leash and pulling it back into the present moment. I thought that was a great analogy too. I think your posture was awesome. Your pacing was really great. You have a great smile. When you speak, you look at the audience and you have a great smile. I thought your gestures were effective and appropriate. So there were no distracting ones that I noticed. I mean, you occasionally would move a little bit and use your hand as a gesture, but I thought it only added to your message of confidence and information. I did not hear any fillers. I know our grammarian will speak to that, so I did not hear any of that. I think if you wanted to, challenge yourself, perhaps on occasion you would look down, and I think that's just you're using that to recall and get on with your speech, and I think that was your way of focusing. So perhaps maybe just look out at the audience a little bit more. And you might have to engage us, you might have had us practice like 1 or 2 deep breathing in the moment type of activities, just to kind of bring it home and let us practice it and engage us. But I think you inspired me for a lot of reasons. Just the quality of your presentation was so good. And I thought, and I know when I heard them pre-pandemic, I think those were more like work-related speeches, if I remember right. And so I thought your improvement and your style just really only got better over the pandemic. So you must have been speaking a lot, or practicing, or just improving on your, on your skills and your comfort with it. So definitely you inspired us for the topic, but also for your getting right back up there and speaking again quickly. So with that, I will turn it back over to our general evaluator. So thanks, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Great job, Debbie. And that's how it's done, folks, how to do an evaluation and how to receive feedback on how we've done our prepared speeches. That's one of the benefits of joining Toastmasters. It's twofold. It's a chance, it's an opportunity for you to work on both types of speeches, prepared speeches and impromptu speaking, but also the valuable feedback is priceless. As you can see, it is constructive, it's positive, and it's very tactical too. She gave some examples on different ways that the speech could be improved and also what she liked about it. So it's not meant to nitpick and beat people up and make you feel like you're an awful, horrible person. It's actually the opposite. We're all here to become better speakers, and that's what the evaluation is for. So great job with that, Debbie. And I can tell you're also getting more confident giving evaluations too. So great job with that. All right, now let's move on to our timers report. Sonia, can you give us a timers report on our table topics and our evaluation, please?
Fantastic, Jamil. I have to say, when I first came to Toastmasters, my inclination was to sit in the corner and be quiet. Didn't really value the moments that I talked about in time management. But today, some newbies came here and knocked it out of the park. They valued their time with us and they got in there. So Eugenia, you came in at 1 minute and 26 seconds. Fantastic. Michael, 1 minute and 4 seconds. Rhonda, 1 minute and 5 seconds. I believe it was Kayla. I wasn't sure. Our young lady that's in the audience in the library, 1 minute and 8 seconds. But for our veterans, Debbie, 1 minute and 6 seconds, and Jamil, 1 minute and 27 seconds. But when you were trying to give it over to the table topic, give it back to the topics master, it was 1 minute and 30, but we're going to claim 127. And Debbie, if you had went 15 more seconds, we could have gave you a speech in Pathways. Your evaluation was 4 minutes and 15 seconds, but it was great information, and Jeremy really appreciated it. But next time, go a little longer. We'll give you speech credit. With that, I give it back to our general evaluator.
That's amazing. As you can tell, we're also family here. It's now we get stuff done. We know how to get our stuff done, but it's also informal. It's casual. It's different from the stuffy, boring. I'm not going to talk about my job. Corporate type meetings that you're in. So we can relax here and have fun and learn stuff at the same time. Okay, moving right along. Let's go on to our grammarian. I believe, David, how do we do with our, or I'm sorry. What am I doing? Messing the thing up. Is it David? Who did our word of the day, inclination?
Valencia.
Valencia. Okay, great. So as she's making her way up, and as I'm talking, giving her a chance to make her way up, let's give a warm round of applause for Valencia, our grammarian.
Thank you so much for that, fellow Toastmasters, Mr. General Evaluator. Speaking of nitpicking, not nitpicking, but giving feedback. Our word of the day today was inclination. Yay to all of our people who used it. Which word? David, Jamil, Michael, and Sonia in her timers report. You go, girl. All right, now I'm going to give feedback on how we use language today. And I really don't want to say much about our new people. I'm just glad that they came up and spoke. But I want to tell you that today, Southpark, we were a choir of souls. There was a lot of souls spoken today. And I'll tell you who participated in that choir were Debbie, Jamil, Sarah Mary, and David. Lots of souls. David in particular, I noticed, did a lot of fillers when he was telling us about Oxy. I think Oxy made you want to think a little bit, and so you sew or bud in there. Jeremy, for your speech today, I noticed that you didn't have a lot of fillers, but one thing that you did as you transitioned in your move was now, but. So it might be something, I had to find something to say. That's all that was. And Famada, you used the word hopscotch. I was like, we need to use this word more often. I like hopscotch. Jeremy, in your speech, you said leash on your mind. That gave me a visual. I love those words together. And Sonia, as timer, you said value every moment through time management. It's something that we all need to take a note and put on everybody's agenda in every meeting that we ever have from now on. Thank you so much.
Great job. Yes, thank you. Thank you for just pointing out the opportunities. And I've never heard that word usage, a choir of sows. I guess we're all singing that same song. So this, so that. Again, the reason for pointing out our filler words is to minimize any filler words that we don't need in our speech. We feel comfortable just throwing so's, ums in there, and we hear it a lot in the world. A lot of times people will say, so what do you want to have for dinner tonight? You don't need that so in the front. You didn't say anything before that. So why do you start out with so? Anyway, it's just to become more cognizant of it because we have an inclination to throw words in there that we don't need. All right. That is all of our reports. So as the general evaluator, I would like to point out that we started pretty much on time. I think it was 12:01, but we wanted to make sure everybody was ready to go, and we were. So 12:01, pretty good on time. And also we had a great job of filling all of our roles, and nobody had to do double duty. Nobody was pulling too many different directions. I would like to point out the fact that all of our newbies that were participating in table topics qualified for green, which is great. You think like a minute, what's the big deal? Talking for a minute, I can talk for an hour. Not everybody. Sometimes people just answer the question in 10 seconds and they're done. So great job just being cognizant of what the goal is. Answer the question and elaborate just for a minute. So great job with that. For improving, I'd like to see us continue to do prepared speeches. Great job, Jeremy, not only doing a prepared speech, but also tying it into Pathways, which is the Toastmaster issued educational program. There's different paths that we could specialize in, whether it's motivational speaking, whether it's team building, collaboration, leadership. There's 11 or 13 different paths in Toastmasters that you can specialize in. So let's continue jumping right in, doing our prepared speeches, and we'll continue growing on our own personal development. So with that, I put in another so. I just talked about taking out the so and I put one in. Sorry about that. I would like to turn the virtual microphone back over to our Toastmaster of the day, Mr. David Jones. Give him a warm welcome, y'all.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. What Valencia might not know is I'm very competitive. I always want to have the most filler words. I'm always working on my toes and ums, where most people are trying to get rid of. Okay, and I was reminded that, just remind the club, the dues are due by September 30th. And your dues, they haven't paid your dues yet. And that goes for all clubs, not just Southpark. And with that, I'm going to turn it back over to our presiding officer, our president, Sarah Mary.
Thank you, David. Thank you guys so much. Just a couple of housekeeping before we get some feedback from our guests. I would love to, let me just put myself on gallery here on my end. I would, let's see, I'd like to get Rhonda and we need Eugenia's. Can y'all type y'all's emails in the chat box for me? So just so we can have it and we'll follow up with you guys just with some information about joining. Of course, you can visit as much as you'd like. There's no limit on visiting, but should you decide you'd like to join us officially, then we'll get you that paperwork signed over. I want to just announce a couple of dates. We have decided to host our fall open house on November 7th. It'll be at the library, same time, except it'll be a 30-minute longer meeting. We'll have some snacks, food, a guest speaker. It should be a really great event. Please feel free to invite anybody and everyone. We definitely like, the more the merrier. So that's November 7th, November 7th. I also want to remind everybody in person, we have plenty of time, but just a reminder, October 17th and 24th, we will not have the in-person meeting. October 17th and 24th, we will not have the in-person meeting. That's just a way in advance fair warning. We'll keep reminding you, of course. I just wanted to make sure y'all remembered that. And then I'd like to choose a Toastmaster for next week. So who would like to volunteer as Toastmaster for our meeting next week? Jamila, are you saying something? I'm watching your lips.
Yes, I would love the opportunity to be Toastmaster next week.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I'm going to go ahead and sign you up and you can pick a theme for us and we'll all make sure that we stay on topic. Okay, my friends. All right. I'd love to we've got about 7 more minutes. So I'd love to hear from our guest, Eugenia. Could you tell us how you enjoyed the meeting and just, how you liked everything that went on today? Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. Let me get you. There you go.
Okay. Well, I turned on the video, although I'm still a messy, sweaty person, but I wanted to say hi to everybody and so you can see my face. I have a big inclination to interrupt. So this meeting really, kept me restrained. I wanted to unmute myself and interact with questions and stuff. So I love that I had the chance to practice that because now that I'm interviewing for jobs, I know that interrupting is not okay. So I appreciate the opportunity today to work on that. And I loved it. I really didn't know what to expect. I guess I need to learn a little more about Toastmasters, but it sounds like you're going to be sending something out to me. I already put my email out there. But yeah, I love hearing everybody. And I just used I love hearing about everybody today and the story about the discovery of that OTC person. So yeah, look forward to seeing you guys again.
Thank you, Eugenia. Thank you so much. Yes, feel free to visit as much as you'd like, get to know us, get to know the experience. You're welcome here anytime. It was a pleasure.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Of course. Oh, you're on mute. You're on mute. Let me get you. There you go.
I was mumbling. I don't have much to say. I did enjoy it. Learning about the different topics and your format of how y'all. Yeah, I go with the see now. Normally I try not to, because that's a thing when someone's speaking. If I hear them say I tend to latch on to what they're saying only, and I can't break it. Here I am saying so. Something I have to work on.
Nobody nervous. Well, we're so glad you're here, Rhonda. And I think we had another guest pop on a little late here. R. Murray. I'm not sure if you're a guest. Hi, did you attend one meeting already?
No, this is my first one.
Okay, welcome.
Yes, thank you. I'm actually here for a class. I'm in graduate school right now. And this is kind of an assignment. However, I enjoyed it. I also, tried to do practicing with public speaking and being more confident with my verbiage and dialect with, when I'm speaking in front of people. So this was interesting. I would be interested to come in possibly in person and visit more, and or even do the online one. So this was nice. I enjoyed it. Thank you.
Great. Yeah, what a wonderful class assignment. You are welcome in person, online, anytime. And if you'd like more information, just feel free to put your email in the chat box and we'll make sure to follow up with you if you have any questions, or if you need one of us to speak with any of your instructors or anything about participation, you just let us know how we can help you. Okay,
you.
of course. And our in-person guest, was it Kayla? Ramada?
With an F.
F. Okay, great. Okay, we'd love to get your feedback on today.
I really enjoyed it. I usually kind of gauge my interest by how fast the time goes by, and it went by really fast. It was very engaging. I enjoyed all the personalities, the topics, so definitely interested in coming back.
Awesome. Oh, we love to hear it. I'm so glad it didn't feel like it just dragged on for you. So it always goes by so fast for us as well. We are at the last 3 minutes, but Alicia, Michael, it's just so good to see you guys again. Do you have any concluding thoughts you'd like to add since you're still our guests?
I thought it was a great meeting. Last time I attended, both of the speakers were virtual. This time it was somebody in person. So I think that's a great option. I think I need to probably improve on both. But definitely the in-person option. I need to work on presenting in person in front of people. It feels a lot different to me than just sitting in front of the computer and presenting. So I love that you offer both options. And the city, like our employer, Rhonda and I, the city of Charlotte, they've been very supportive of us attending with our time, and they're willing to, sponsor our membership. So that's very encouraging to hear. So I'm hoping to learn more. I learn more with every meeting I attend. So I learn more about your structure and how you do things. And I look forward to continuing to learn through Toastmasters.
Awesome, Alicia. Well, we're looking forward to learning with you. So yeah, keep up the good work. And I would agree, in person is very different than a virtual audience. It's a very different experience. Okay, Michael, any closing remarks?
No, just thanks for calling on me again or let me speak again. It's definitely good to have the practice. I need all the help I can get. I definitely also interrupt people sometimes before they're done speaking, so I can relate to the person that had that issue. So yeah, just every time I speak, it's good to have the practice. Thanks.
Awesome. Well, we love to hear you speak. So you're welcome back to keep doing it. Okay, my friends. Well, that is another successful meeting. So if we don't have any other announcements from anyone else in the exec team. No. Okay, great.
I just wanted to mention something quick.
Please, David.
I don't know if you know this or not, but for your open house, if you post it on D37's website, they have a $50 credit to give to you. But you have to post it. It's first come, first served, but there aren't a lot of people doing, and it has to be hybrid. So you would qualify for that soon. If you don't know how to post on D37, you can ask Valencia, myself, or Jamil probably how to do it. But
excellent.
If you get that post, you'll get $50 for your food and drinks for that party.
Thank you for that. Yeah, that's very helpful information. Okay, great. Yeah, Valencia, Jamil, we'll be in touch. That would be great. Okay, thank you so much, my friends. I'll see you same time, same place next week. Great meeting. Bye, everyone. Thank you so much.
All right. See y'all.
Bye, guys.